This show is sponsored by Horizon HVAC, who you can count on for all of your heating and cooling needs. Also by CES Construction, who specializes in bathroom and kitchen remodels. All right, Mindset Radio Podcast, episode 10. We are here with Jarrod Tillingast. Second time in, and the beautiful Sheena. Jarrod, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, buddy?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
So I brought you in for a few things. You're on this new diet that I want everybody to know about. I want to hear a little bit more about it. I want to dig into your brain, dig into what this does for you, what it's done for you, the benefits, and let's have a little debate about it. Let's kind of get one side and another side and see where we end up coming to.
I love it.
You like that?
I think it's fair enough.
Is there a name for the diet?
No, I don't think there's any particular name. There's no name for it, and I'm not a vegan, and I'm not a pescatarian, and I'm not labeled
Jarrod the pescatarian.
Jarrod, yeah, that would be my boxing name, right? Come out. No, I'm none of the above. I'm just.
So this is all stuff that you learned, right?
By understanding.
And you're just putting it all together.
Right. So by trial and error, by me going through certain things and eating poorly, the stuff that I was putting in my body was causing inflammation and fluids. And I had lost the vision in my right eye. I completely lost the vision, and I had a patch. And I would wear the patch, and the whole time I wasn't nervous that I wasn't going to see again. My doctor was like really straight-faced, and he actually gave me hope. Really? But then my faith in God, I knew the enemy was attacking my vision. Mm-hmm. But I was also helping by the food that I was eating. And what happens is when I got so inflamed, it's like a dam, right? The dam gets big, clogged. And then the dam breaks, right? Mm-hmm. And when it breaks, the enzymes were attacking healthy cells in my body because they didn't know what to do, because being backed up from inflammation in my belly. I have diverticulosis, so I have to be careful. Because
what is diverticulosis?
It's a condition where you form like little pockets in your intestines, like seeds get stuck in them, and so they tell you don't eat like any kind of seed. That's like.
But you've been eating. You love seeds now.
But I understand what seed that I can eat and what seed I can't eat. Right. There's like tomato seeds.
Yeah.
I stay away from the little seeds, the sesame seeds, the seeds that will get stuck, but I'll eat like pumpkin seeds, which are good for parasites. It's a good cleanse.
Yeah.
I got pumpkin seeds coming out of my ears.
Yeah.
I create these recipes and I put the cayenne pepper, and the pumpkin seeds are great, huh?
Pull up that picture, Ash. I want to show everybody what Jarrod. So this was Jarrod in 2017, 18.
Wow. Listen, I was getting alopecia at this time. I started getting, and my brother Jerry suffers from it. So, and it's the gut problems that we have, right? Mm-hmm. So I was getting big spots, and I ruined on my beard, and I couldn't like, it was just kept coming. So I went to the Brown University dermatologist, and they did the whole process. They were shooting needles and steroids into my face because nobody knows how to cure alopecia. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not curable. It's something that is genetic. I knew somebody
with that, and it was crazy.
Yeah, they say it's genetic, right? And now I think I've developed alopecia. I'm stuck with it, right?
Right.
And when I started eating so I realized I understood what was going on in my body. My hands were getting swollen, my thumbs were hurting. It was a reaction because I have an autoimmune disease that is it's B12- something else. And I didn't find that out until I had the doctor drew the fluids out of the center of my eye, and he sent them in, and all the tests were coming back negative.
Now, do you attribute all this shit to what you were eating?
So if you eat milk, egg, bread, cheese, fish, meat, wheat, grain for 30 years, you're already manifesting a disease. You're already built up mucus. And this is the problem here this is our food pyramid.
Yeah.
Ash, pull up the food pyramid. what were you eating around this time?
I was eating like a house, a car, boats. I was eating everything.
What was your diet consisting of?
It was more like alcohol. It was more alcohol, and it was when you're drunk, you're eating anything. Whatever came my way, I was gobbling.
Yeah, cheese whiz.
I was
Blow
like
that up a little bit. So this is interesting, and I understand that if you flip that pyramid upside down, that's how it should be. This is actually wild. I haven't seen this in a while. So
look at this.
At the top,
where is it?
So is it telling us to eat from the top?
No, it's saying from the bottom up.
Okay.
Like, this is the best, but at the top it says not every day. These are foods and drinks high in fat, sugar, and salt.
So fats,
all right.
spreads,
but you
and
gotta
oils.
go back to the food pyramid of the 80s.
Right.
This is the new lie. You gotta go to the old lie.
Go to the food period.
Find the
in 80s,
pyramid
Ash.
that when we were kids, what we were led to believe.
In school, they were telling
Yes.
us this is the nutritional
Yes,
facts that you
our
need.
food pyramid was.
I thought
It was only
always
like
that.
a 3,
I
4
thought it was
food
always
groups,
that.
right? It was only like 3 or 4 food groups. Our food
Yeah,
pyramid.
they've gone more
I
in depth.
I thought the food pyramid has been the same.
Similar, but less complicated.
All right, what's on the bottom?
The bottom
Still
is bread, cereal, rice, pasta.
Stop there.
Yep.
Bread, cereal, rice. Okay.
Yep.
Bread. It's a number one killer. Bread is
bread's
the
terrible.
worst thing you can put
Bread's
into.
terrible.
It's the worst thing you could put in your body. Next to bread, what was bread?
Bread,
cereal.
rice,
Another.
pasta.
It's
This is the
It's
this is the one
trash.
from the 80s.
It's trash.
Yeah.
It's trash. And then
Pasta,
And then
terrible.
pasta is what? Gluten, and there's so many things
All
wrong
right,
with
so
pasta
now I'm
too.
seeing it. Okay, so
then you got.
vegetables,
Wait a minute. Stay next. You got the bread. You got the look at-
pasta.
what's that? A donut?
It looks like bagels.
Yeah, bagels,
saltines.
rice,
Crackers.
pasta.
That's dairy, right? That's dairy.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Dairy is how good could dairy's the
I don't
worst
do
that we
dairy.
could.
I don't do much dairy
Any
at all.
dairy is
I
bad.
think I have a splash of almond milk with my coffee, but I don't do
Any
we don't
dairy.
do any dairy actually. Cheese sometimes. You don't eat cheese? I love cheese.
Listen, I did eat cheese. I ate everything. I was a garbage disposal.
Yeah.
That's why I know I did it all, right? So now
You don't eat cheese now?
I haven't eaten cheese, and I don't. It's hard for me now to eat cheese because when I wake up in the morning, I can work out.
Yeah.
I'm 50 years old, and I've never felt better in 25 years. The last time I felt like with my joints,
Yeah.
I suffer from inflammation. I have an autoimmune disease that I don't give power to, so I take the power
You
back
think that
from
was
it.
self-induced by the way you used to eat and drink?
Of course, the food is who we are. If you have a brand new 2024 Ferrari, are you gonna pull up and put regular in it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put regular gas in
I
that
have
car?
a 2023 Sierra and I put premium in
And
it.
you put premium
Yeah.
in it. Why? So you can get the best performance.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what's
Well,
the
and it tells me to do that on the
we
door,
don't-
but I would have done it anyway.
we don't
It's-
treat our bodies like that
Yeah.
because we're uneducated about what is good and bad. And it's really about the profit.
Yeah.
It's all about the profit. They're profiting off of the food, and the pharmaceutical people and the doctors are on the same team. When you go to your doctor's office and your doctor runs blood tests on you and they come back and you got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and your doctor writes a prescription out for you and he hands it to you and he don't talk to you about healthy eating habits and gives you the right catalogs for the right foods, he's not doing his job. Get another doctor.
So what do
Because
you
at the end of the day, he's writing a prescription where he's getting paid. He's the one you're trusting with your health because we're not informed, right? No, and the other thing is this about people, like if I don't like something and I know it's beneficial to me and it doesn't taste good, I'm going to eat it right even more. Because I'm going to get slapped around by a mental thought saying, I'll never eat that and I can't do this and I'll eat it because of that. Because it's medicine that I'm putting in my body and I'm preventing the doctor's pills that only gonna put a little coat on it, but the damage is still getting done.
Band-Aid.
Yeah,
Let's-
we can heal ourselves.
Let's go back up to this list. So the second is vegetables, right? Vegetables and fruits. That's what they're saying is second in line.
Right, and they got carrots, broccoli, What's the other one?
Tomatoes, potatoes,
That's a potato?
green
green peas.
green peas.
All right, so carrots and broccoli aren't even like, they're not even real vegetable.
Okay, what's the difference between a real vegetable and a healthy vegetable?
Healthy vegetables are the darker, the Tuscan, like the Tuscan green, like
Right.
the Tuscan kale.
What's the
Those-
difference?
So the light foods, the later foods are genetically made, like our watermelons, right? When we were kids, we would get our watermelons and there would be all black seeds in our watermelons.
Yeah,
When's the last time you got a black seeded watermelon?
it's been years.
Years. And when we get the watermelon, they're all the same exact ball shape,
Mhm.
right? So we're eating watermelon that are made by humans and not a seed.
Mhm.
So what is really in the watermelons that we're eating with this government?
But do you think
who
that-
knows?
do
How
you-
can you trust anything?
Do you think that there are some things that are genetically made that are not bad?
How can something be good when it doesn't come from God?
If it's done- if it's
everything we
grown-
need is already here.
If it's grown exactly the way a watermelon is grown, right? And they just duplicate that. See, I come from cultivation and cannabis, right? I've grown cannabis outside. I've grown cannabis inside. I've grown it with LEDs. I've grown it with a irrigation system. I've grown it in soil. I've grown it in cocoa. I've grown it in all different kinds of things. And sometimes the hydroponics is called for a different strain, and you get more of a yield when you do certain. My point is that lab grown stuff doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad.
Well, lab grown stuff, the stuff that you're getting that is lab grown, you have to start from a seed, right? You have to start from a
Clone or a seed, yeah.
A clone or a seed, right?
Yeah.
So that seed is alive. That seed is alive,
But
right?
I believe
So-
the modified watermelons, they have to start from a seed as well.
But they're not alive because they don't have the black seed. They're not. You get what I'm saying? These watermelons are like put together genetically, and it's not a natural thing that's coming from the earth. How can it have the same stuff in it that? So the black seeds. Let's go down about how beneficial the black seeds are, because everything I say there's evidence for. It's not like
No, I
I'm
know you
just
do your
saying
homework.
it.
I know that.
I'm like my homework is done, but then I do it myself.
Right. Watermelon seeds, which can be eaten raw or dried, are rich in magnesium, which DeRocha explains plays a key role in energy production,
Nerve function. People
DNA.
suffer from nerve damage. People suffer from all these things, and there's so many benefits in the seeds of. Look at soursop, that fruit that we won't. They don't even sell it in America. My friend brings it back from the Dominican Republic for me. Those seeds are superfoods.
Yeah.
The seeds and the plants
Mhm.
Ash, can you search
are
the
real? They're legitimately here to heal us. It's because how could it be any other way? When you
Yeah.
eat meat,
Mhm.
it causes nothing but cardiac arrest, inflammation. We're not designed to eat meat. If that was the case, meat would do all those things for us, and it doesn't. And there's a lot of things that we can get into with meat too, because
Yeah, we'll get there.
yeah, go ahead.
We'll get there. No, I want to finish this
Apricots was
first.
a fruit.
So,
Look at me.
do you get most of your water from watermelons now, or coconut water? What I want to hear your thoughts on water and why the water that we get, or there can't be any beneficial water.
I don't know if the fact is there can't be beneficial water, because there are some labeled waters that are natural, and there's a list of them somewhere I saved on my phone. But most of the water that we drink in the plastic bottles is loaded with plastics and metals.
I've seen that.
All right, so it's
I
loaded.
saw that study that happened.
So we're drinking out of these plastic bottles that are recycled, and there's metals and there's plastics in the water.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's one.
it's turning the frogs gay.
Two, if you get a glass of water and leave it here for a week, come back, what is that water going to look like if you go like this out of the cleanest lake in America? If you just go like this with a glass and put it down and come back a week later, that water is going to be brown. And it's the chlorine, the peroxide, the stuff they use in the water is actually draining all the minerals that we have out. So we think we're getting hydrated by water, but it's actually dehydrating our minerals. So even if it is hydrating us a little bit, it's not fully getting a full hydration. The way to get the hydration is through a salt. Baja salt
In
is
Celtic,
We use
right?
Celtic sea
Celtic
salt.
salt is good. Baja salt's the best. All right. So you get 72 plus minerals in the Baja salt. So I get a pinch at my fingers and I put it on my tongue and I let it dissolve. So what that does is automatically all my blood, like my veins, like all the bloodstream opens up in me. Then I'll do blueberries, coconut water, and watermelon, and I'll blend it and I'll whip it into a drink, and that's H3O. The only place in the world you can get H3O is through your watermelons, your melons, and the coconut water. Some of the coconut water is got sugar in it, so you got to make sure you're getting the right one. The pressed one, the organic coconut with the pulp.
So natural watermelon, 3000 BC. They open it with a hammer or sharp object. Extremely bitter tasting.
Hammer.
18 seeds, very rich in fat. Rich in fat.
Which is a good fat.
Because of the pulp, the skin.
Where is it?
The seeds, 18 seeds equal very rich in fat. They taste nutty and extremely bitter.
Yes, they're very bitter. So,
All right, so we got the artificial watermelon where I guess they started coming around in 2014. Different shapes.
Yeah.
Available in 4 different colors. That's true. 1,200 varieties of watermelon. And there was 5 or 6 known varieties.
Grown in 15 countries. Most are grown in China.
What,
Right.
the artificial?
Most of the artificial
All
watermelons are
All right,
grown in
there
China.
you go. Look at me. Why wouldn't China sabotage our food? Is it impossible?
Yeah.
No.
China plays a
it's
long game.
real.
Listen, China's been around for 5,000 years. All right?
Listen.
We are 250 years old. The United States of America, I want you to think about this, is 250 years old. China is 5,000 years old. They have seen and been through so much. They know how to play the end game if there's anybody that knows how to play the end game.
Brilliant people.
Brilliant. And they will infest this country a little bit at a time.
They already have.
Yeah.
World is a really vulnerable place right now.
Yeah.
And America's never been so vulnerable. And we don't know what it feels like to have boots and bombs dropping on us.
We've never
Listen,
been invaded. We've never, no.
That would be like Armageddon for us.
For sure.
For them, it's normal.
Yeah.
It's like walking to the park, right? That's all they know is war. We're not prepared. We're divided. Everybody's in groups and everybody's labeled.
That's their mission.
But do you see it? Like the people, there's no race and it's all make believe. Religion is made up. We better wake up because our governments are really putting the clamps on us and they're keeping us divided because we're weak divided.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 9/11 for a minute. When 9/11 happened, I never felt more American. I never felt like my brothers were with me. Like, I didn't care if you were where you came from, what race. It was like a unity. We were ready as Americans, and I felt like if somebody came here, we were going to jump them.
Okay.
And all the people in America were together.
You don't think that same thing could happen again if we do get invaded?
I think the same thing can happen again, but I think that there's so many different beliefs here that there'll be pockets of...
I don't think anybody will be thinking beliefs when there's freaking China militarized boots on the ground kicking in our doors. I think we're all going to band together. I don't think enough people have faith in America right now.
I think we're too far advanced to see China boots on our grounds. They're not going to put their people here.
Yes, that A. B, I think if some shit really hit the fan, we would all come together. And it would be very tough for somebody to take this country over.
But somebody's got to take the lead, right? And wake everybody up.
Yeah, I agree.
And show people this is a smoke bomb. This is designed to get everybody looking this way and to get everybody divided. And who gives a shit about what this president or that president did it? Look at you're investing too much hatred into things that they don't really care about us in that sense. They don't even know we're alive. They don't even know we exist. And we put so much energy into the Democrat or the Republican and the way he did this or the way she did that and who can't talk anymore. Do you see it?
I saw something.
We are so blinded by all the smoke bombs around us that we're missing the blessings that God is sending right in front of us. It literally missing them. I'm so hyper vigilant about that moment that when something crosses my path, I'm intuitive enough and I'm conscious enough to be here in the moment. Because if I live in the past and I bring the past to this moment, or if I'm worried about the future and I'm sabotaging my only moment I have, and this is like self-love stuff. This is your only moment here. Why sabotage it with things that aren't real? Because neither nor are reality. Yeah. And then you got to check yourself and see if you have to go to Butler, because how smart do you think you are if you live in two places that aren't real? It's self-evaluation, right? And when you look at it like that, because it's real, you'll be like, damn, I'm smarter than that. And then you can reel your brain in and stop letting your thoughts be sloppy and falling all over the place. And that's what happens. And it's a serious thing. Like when I get in the car, you hear a song that comes on. You could have the best morning, drinking your coffee, you're out the door, you're going to exercise, and you get in the car and you turn a song on and somebody just passed away in your family and that song reminds you of them. And where do we go emotionally in a hole? Womp, womp, womp. Now we get out of the car at the gym and it's all over us. Our spirit is down and we're walking in the gym to meet our partner to train, and he looks at you and he's like, is everything okay? In 10 minutes ago, you was ready to conquer the world. That's how easy it is for us to go on holes. So that's how crucial it is to be conscious of every thought we have and process, and don't go south. It's important to stay here or up, and you got to breathe life in and not breathe negative out, because when you talk, sometimes we throw up and it goes like, and anything going down is what? Negative, right? Yep. Anything breathing. So, and when we take it in, and the only stuff we're breathing out of us is negative, but it's not coming out of our tongues, because our tongues are dangerous when we're negative. So we have to just push it out of our bodies with our breathing and our making sure that it's out. And it's between the food and meat. You know what I give all the credit to, because I'm one that I need somebody to be successful at a way. So like when I learned how to fight, it was the best there was. And I had to learn from him because he'd been there and he'd done it. Dino Dennis. So anything he said, if he said jump off a bridge, I was jumping off a bridge and I'd worry about it later. However that ended up, because I believed in him that much. And as me being a student of his, I didn't give him a hard time ever. I was never angry. It's a lot of times when you start coaching people and telling people how to do something, they get I was very coachable, and I did it this way. And I did it hard, and I went all in.
Yeah. Dino's a good dude. That was a good trainer to have. I also like what you just said, I need to see somebody succeed at something before I dive in, right? Is that what you were kind of getting at?
Well, because if you are teaching me how to do something and you've never done it, or if you tried it and you didn't really do good at it, I mean, I will be respectful and I thank you. But I'm not going to take any of your advice when you didn't do it yourself. If you're successful at something and I see that it works, then that's kind of what I'll put my consciousness on, and I'll get it. And once I get it, I put it in my pocket, and then I go on to the next thing that's difficult for me. And all the things that I'm going on to isn't external. It's not physical. I'm already physically that. I already know I'm strong. Why am I going to work on a left hook if I already can throw a left hook? I need to work on my outbursts or my emotional well-being. And that's why I give so much credit to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is a master of himself. And he learned about him and his body and how to control the energy that we have. We got good positive energy. We just the way we speak, we let negativity out of our mouth by doubt, fear. All those things are things of the enemy.
Yeah, I mean the average person who's not in tune with themselves mentally, they're
Scattered.
they're weak. They're very weak.
But they're as strong as the people who are in tune with it. You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
because
in some
they
ways-
don't believe that they're strong like
Oh
that.
yeah, of course.
But they're no different than us. I bleed like you bleed. We are human. We need to condition our mind to go the distance because this is a marathon that never ends. And if you're not built for that, this isn't a 40-yard dash. You don't get a break.
Yeah.
There's no time off in life.
Some people just are not receptive to that kind of stuff.
But you have to be, and if you're not, you better get informed and you better get to it because
yeah,
you do this once.
What planted the seed to start eating different?
I wanted, in order to get something I never had, I have to do something I never did.
What was that?
It was getting uncomfortable and completely being disciplined with what I put into my body because I wanted to see if I can get the inflammation to fully go away. And it took a super discipline because sugar and meat or anything that bleeds is super addictive. And sugar especially.
Sugar. We've been having like sugar withdrawals, man.
Let me tell you
They
something.
are real. At night when
And
you are
it's the-
staring into your cabinet
Let me tell
and
you.
you're just like
It's the parasites.
itching for anything
It
to
is the
eat that's sweet.
parasites.
The parasites, the parasites that are inside of us.
Yeah.
When we don't clean them out completely, there's 3,000 species of parasites, right?
Right.
Let's
Some are
talk.
good,
Let's
some
talk
are
about
bad.
it.
Yeah.
So there's parasites that thrive on sugar, and they're there. And then there's the parasites that thrive on meat, and there's the parasites that thrive on bread. And
Vegetables.
And they're in us because if we eat pork, if we eat sushi, if we eat salmon, we have parasites. Everybody does. Some are good. Most are not good. But to rid our guts and listen, here's what it comes down to. The motor is the gut. You have to heal your gut. And whatever you have to do to get informed to do it, get informed and try it. And if you are that person that says, I can't eat that and you need just 7 sugars and your 7 milks and your coffee, how's that working out for you? So when you want to know how to do something and you get the information and you put it in your pocket and you never look at it, that's kind of the most important part is what I'm trying to say. And that's where the mental toughness has to come in because we quit on ourselves way too soon before we even get out of the box because we think it's going to take forever. By the time I lose all this weight, the time's coming anyway. Like if I knew there's a fight in 6 months and I'm fighting in 6 months, no matter what, it's going to come.
Yeah, that's what
It's coming. It just seems far away. Right? So we kind of like slack off in the meantime and say we got time. Right? And we're lazy about it.
Let's get down to the science, let's dive into the difference between meat and vegetables or different ways of eating. So you get people like Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson, Joe Rogan, Huberman, neuroscientists, what's that guy's name? I think it is Huberman. They all eat meat. They all eat, actually, they're just strictly on carnivore. They eat bacon, a shit ton of bacon, steak, very rarely chicken. It's all a lot of red meat, beef, ground beef, elk, stuff like that. They had issues with joint pain, with inflammation. They had issues with alopecia, not while on the diet. I'm saying before they went on this diet.
Depression.
They had depression, low anxiety, low testosterone. But when they went on the carnivore diet, all of that went away.
This is a deep topic for me. So I want everybody to like listen to hear. I'm not saying I'm right.
Right. No, I just want your thought on what the difference between the two are.
Let me ask this question. Do you think animals have like spirits?
Yes.
Like a souls, like kind of sort of like.
I do.
All right. So we don't really know.
We don't know.
Let's just make believe that animals understand that they're all in a slaughterhouse. And every time they pull another cow to get murdered, right? Every time they pull another cow to get murdered, the trauma that they're all together is that whole pen
Energy
is full of trauma that's dark. It's dark. Let's face it, right? These animals are trembling. And I never thought of it until, and listen, I'm not judging because I love a steak. I always did love a steak. I sleep with a steak now, but I don't eat it. I wrap it up in but because I don't eat it because it doesn't serve me, right? And the reason it don't serve me is because like when these animals are on their way to get slaughtered, there's no humane way to murder, is there?
Mm-mm.
I don't care if it's you slice their throat on a certain date with a certain flower over them. It doesn't matter.
That's the circle of life. It is
the circle of life. But that's not what I'm talking about. The circle of life is how do we know? Because they lied to us all along. So the circle of life doesn't have to be.
I believe that this has been happening for thousands and thousands of years.
I understand that.
Before the point where they started manipulating.
All right. So you get an animal that was murdered. There's got to be some trauma to that moment. Right.
But back then it was you or them.
I agree, but this isn't back then anymore. We didn't have information back then. We didn't have the information that we have today.
Right.
And this is why so many people have died of cardiac arrest, of heart attacks. You see the healthiest people who are eating meat, they're having heart attacks. They're having strokes.
Excessive amount of meats, excessive amount of alcohol and other shit.
All right. So listen, so the way I feel about meat now, because I'm deep, I like to next level think, because I always think worst case scenario. So if I think worst case scenario and I could get myself in a position where I'm okay in worst case scenario, anything else is light to me.
True.
Right? So I think worst case scenario, like if I'm holding my feet too far apart, I'll bring them all the way in because I know somewhere in between I'll end up being. So I'll exaggerate everything. That's how I learn to be disciplined, right? So if I know I have to think about something all the time, so it's on my mind, I'm extra because that gives me the discipline I need.
Right.
So I really am good at putting my mind to something and whatever it is, I get it done. When that meat is killed, there's trauma to it at some point. And if you know souls are real and spirits are real, that meat is traumatized.
It happens. So if you hunt an animal, if you hunt an elk, there's hunters that can put a bow right through a spot that their lights just go out.
That's different. That's not waiting to die.
So there is humane, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah. What I think the difference between then and now is now the consumption of meat is so.
I get that.
Well, the consumption is so high because the demand in the United States for meat is so high. So they're putting they're making baby cows so exponential at that rate that they're stuffing them in and killing them.
The animal gets murdered and we skin them. And so a carcass, if you see any carcass, anybody, the body decomposes after 24 hours, right? It starts to decompose and meat isn't red, it's brown.
Yeah.
It's brown meat, right? So by the time the meat gets now, one day there's any flesh, any carcass is going to start decomposing. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is. So you get the meat that is murdered, and then you get the meat, and by the time it gets on the supermarket shelf, it could be anywhere between 3 weeks to a month, right? Who knows? Yeah. And then they date it for X amount of dates. So that carcass has been dead all that time before it gets in your grill on your plate. How the hell can it still be juicy red like that?
Yeah, well then that's...
Wait a minute, how does that happen? Let's face it, like there was some steaks I would pick up and I'd be like, oh, this is gonna, look at a steak I found. And it would brag about it.
Have you ever hunted before?
No.
No?
No.
Have you ever gotten venison from somebody?
I'm not like a big game eater. I don't like the way it...
Yeah, I'm not either. So
I'm not a big game eater, but I think that's different because it's instant and it's not.
But my point is, I've had venison in the fridge for like months, and when I go to defrost it and I cook it, it's still red. It's still, you know what I mean? Like it's been sitting. They filleted it, they bagged it
because
it went from there to the freezer and to the pan. Is that what you're saying? That's saying, different than the way they're doing it.
Of course, because you're doing it right away. It's like it's while it's still red, you're putting it in the way right away. You're going from here to the freezer, right?
So what do? Load it with preservatives before they wrap it and give it to us?
Because they're not putting it in the freezer. When you get it at the market, right? It's under the little bit of
Cool, right.
and the steak isn't frozen anymore. It's soft, right?
Right.
So it sits there for as long as that date is there, that steak will be there. So who knows when they put it there and how long it was sitting there, but how does it stay this color in that moment, in that process? That's where you have to, and then on top of it, listen, our intestines are 54 feet long, bro. We have intestines that we could roll out a football field, a half a football field. That meat, if it's not eaten with the right fiber and if it's not taken out of our system, it sits in our intestines. And now you got a dead carcass sitting in your intestines. And when you start cleansing, you'll know it's there still because of the smell that comes out is probably worse than anything you'll ever smell because of the dead. And and then we wonder why we're tired and we move in energy. We don't have that energy, right? How can you have energy when you're putting death into life? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want a dead carcass in life. It's like, it brings me down. I feel like, it's like, I've been on both sides of the ball. I've been there and I know how I felt there. I was tired. I was draggy. Joints were hurting. Everything was hurting. Everything was hurting. I was like, yo, sugar and anything that bleeds is been so beneficial to me because I don't have aches and pains.
Yeah.
I don't have inflammation. It's crazy.
So I saw the change, what was it, probably about 3 months ago. I came into the gym and you actually looked like you were getting a little heavy.
Oh,
You were getting bloated. Your stomach was getting there. And I left and I come back maybe a month later or a month and a half later. And you had lost all that weight plus more. So what did you do? What does your diet look like? How did that happen?
We don't have to eat 3 times a day. If you eat 3 times a day and you're not going to the bathroom 3 times a day, that's an issue, first of all. Our bodies don't need 4 meals, 5. That's a lot. We're overeating, first of all. We only need to eat 1 time a day when we're hungry. It has to be food that we're feeding our soul. It has to be certain, it's an inflammation type of diet. I eat a lot of purple, a lot of blueberries. I eat a lot of purple potatoes. Look those up, purple potatoes. Those things are amazing. They're loaded with nutrients and all the right stuff we need. I put balsamic vinegar with a little bit of olive oil and some Baja salt with some quinoa, and that
sounds good.
Is that your only meal of the day?
That's all I had. That's all I need.
So what'd you have today?
This morning I had the leftovers from last night with the quinoa and the purple potato, and I had
What's quinoa?
It's a healthy grain.
It's a healthy.
It's like kind of like rice, but not quite.
Right. It's better.
Oh, the circle. Is
they're
that
small. They're little like
that right there? Yeah. I know what those. Okay.
Yeah, quinoa is very good.
So
for
what
you.
is? It's not a pasta based product.
Nope.
It is a carb.
But it's a good carb. It's not a, and carbs are killing us, by the way. Everybody's thinking carbs. No.
Yeah, we don't do many carbs. Let me tell you something really quick, right? Let me tell you something. We started this new diet it was 10 days ago.
Yep.
All right. So in the morning
we're eating 5 meals total.
5 meals a day, 3 eggs with a cup of egg whites, and then we do a cup of oatmeal. That's meal number 1.
And blueberries. With
a quarter cup of blueberries.
5 eggs a day.
Yeah.
So you get up in the morning, you have
a cup of egg whites and 3 whole eggs.
A cup of egg whites.
So you
drink them?
No, we cook them.
All right.
Yep. And then a cup of oatmeal with a quarter cup of blueberries.
You need to look into the oatmeal because
we'll talk about that because I want to know about that. For a snack, I do 2 rice cakes with natural peanut butter.
Peanut butter is mold. You got to get rid of the peanut butter.
And protein shake.
Peanut butter and the whey protein is not good. You got to get the plant-based protein.
Yeah.
Replace the whey with the plant-based protein. It's so good. I got the chocolate. I love it. It's my go-to. I put it in my stuff, and the chocolate is really good, and it's all good.
For lunch, we're doing 5 ounces of meat, 8 ounces of sweet potato, and 4 ounces of greens. Okay, any greens? We've been doing cauliflower,
Asparagus,
broccoli.
broccoli.
Meal 4, we do 15 almonds with a protein shake. And meal 5, we do 5 ounces of another meat, usually chicken.
Meal 5?
Yep. Meal 5, chicken,
2 ounces avocado.
2 ounces of avocado, and 4 ounces of green. Now, with that being said,
8 ounces.
Before we started this diet, I had an issue where I would feel like the blood would be rushing up to my head.
That's vertigo.
And no, it wasn't vertigo. It was almost like a blood pressure issue, but my blood pressure wasn't high. It felt like blood was rushing to my head and my ears would ring.
You said that.
And it just felt uncomfortable. I always felt like I was about to explode. That's the best way I can put it. I felt like
combust almost.
I felt like I was about to combust. When I switched to this diet, it went away. So there was something that I was doing before that was contributing to that. And the only thing I can think of was we were eating a lot of steak. A lot of steak.
Mm-hmm.
We were eating steak almost every day.
All right.
Right? That's one thing. And what else did we cut out?
Sugar.
But we weren't really doing that much sugar before.
Well, now that we're
yogurt, I guess we were doing yogurt.
We were eating a lot of fruit, which is a lot of sugar.
Fruit.
So
I was eating a bag of grapes a day.
The grapes aren't bad. Listen, they're out, but you got to watch out for the grapes because we're eating grapes with no more seeds.
Right. They're not.
And they're sprayed.
So when we were getting when we were eating grape seeds, they always had seeds in them. The grape seeds especially had the seeds in them, right?
Yeah.
The good ones, yeah.
Yes. And then we would have the seeds. I remember. Try finding a seed in the grape now.
I mean, we eat cotton candy grapes now. Imagine that. They didn't have cotton candy grapes back
what
then.
is that telling you? You get it? So you're eating grapes and you're getting that condition from grapes that aren't real. Think about that for a minute. Just think about that. That's an important part.
That
don't
could have been it.
That.
It could be from that.
And don't overlook it. Maybe where are the grapes being made in China?
They are being made in the U.S., but at the end of the day, they're not growing from their natural seed. They were made to taste a certain way through two different grapes.
Which means when you look at the ingredients in our food and you look at the colors that they put in the sugars for our children, this is causing so many problems for our kids, right? If they're putting cancerous causing agents in our food, and that's a fact with evidence, and we know it, and they're making our grapes, what are you trusting about that?
Okay, so let me tell you this. Yeah. What about the kale and what about all the...
You got to eat the dark kale, the Tuscan kale, the dark
But
rich,
that's still sprayed.
Rich.
That's still coming from somewhere.
But then you wash them off before you eat them. You massage them, you wash them down, you get as much as you can. It's the process you have to do. Yeah, they're sprayed with pesticides. Even you can't... I remember I told you before how I overdo everything and I overthink everything because it's always worst case scenario. So anything that I get, I don't trust even if it's organic because I feel like they'll find a way. So I still do all the things that I have to do. I don't just base it on their truth because when you look at a television, it's tell-a-vision.
It's televised.
Television is what it is, right? Tell-a-vision. That's the name. And what they're doing is they're telling us a vision just like everything else.
Programming.
It's programming.
Yes.
They understand that we're all getting aware of it. So they're causing division in all different places to it's all smoke bombs.
It's just frustrating because at the end of the day, I've also done a lot of deep diving into, we'll go back to parasites. Like you can even get parasites from water, fruits, vegetables, everything, swimming.
From swimming in a lake.
So you have to try not to lose your mind at the same time that you're finding out all of the information about what truly goes on.
Yeah, because it's easy to be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
That's the key right there.
That is the key.
That's the key because I noticed that a lot of people, they get so deep that they automatically think it's the right thing. That doesn't mean I've done it, right? I've got into certain topics, which I actually stopped doing because I noticed that I was doing that. And now what I do is I take opinions from both sides and I formulate my own opinion. And if I'm thinking too much of one way, then I start listening to the other way a little bit.
Yeah,
Because I need to hear both. It goes with anything. You see me do it all the time. I'll listen to
Democrat sides and Republican sides. And
I'll listen to something that Trump's saying, right? And then that day, if I listen to it for an hour, I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm thinking a little bit too much. I'll pull up a Democrat podcast.
When you start overthinking, go with your instinct.
Yeah.
Your instinct will always guide you in the right direction. When you start over processing, go with what your gut tells you 100% of the time. How many times did your gut tell you to do something and you went the other way and you said, I knew I said it?
Yeah, a couple. I'm learning though. I'm learning to really hone in on it.
Your instinct is going to take you to the place you need to be.
Yeah.
Don't question it. Run with it.
Yeah.
It's right 100% of the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with noticing that about, like, if I don't feel good about something, I'll quickly just dismiss it.
That's why when you have a team sport and you win a championship, it's special.
Yeah.
Because you have a personal life. You have a personal life. I have a personal life. You might have marital issues. Your children might be going through something. It's hard to show up every day for each other. So when you can get a team sport that's a championship team, that means everybody was on the same page in spite of the challenges and the sufferings we all deal with as humans. And it's special. That's what makes a championship team, because that's why there's 52 teams and there's only one champion.
Yeah, that's true.
There's only one champion, right?
That's going to be a good clip.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I was freestyle, by
That was good.
That was good.
I've actually never even thought about it in that, making it special like that. Because, for me, I watch sports because they're there or he gets excited about them. And but yeah, the team effort, despite everything that people are going through,
to show up every day. Show up every day.
Never thought about it like that. And to have
52 players come together for a cause.
Yeah.
Right? That's special because they're all suffering. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care where they come from. It's a unity that is unique. And that's why there's a different champion every year, because people rise at different moments. And the least expected people that can still get their spirit in a place that is so bright and so energetic and so full of winning. They can come together like the Giants beat us in the Super Bowl with the catch on the head. You get it? Yeah. So those guys weren't supposed to win that game. We were the Patriots. We were 18-0. We were going to go undefeated, right? How did they beat us? Because all those guys believed in one thing at that moment, right?
Yeah.
There's something special about a team sport. And when I started boxing, the reason I started boxing was because I went to Central High School and I was on the football team. I was starting freshman. I was crushing it. And some of the guys on my team were not getting to the games because they got arrested the day before for selling drugs, or because I was in, it's in the Centrals and I played with everybody. So to show up for each other every day in an environment that is already toxic and fail, it's basically. Yeah. So it's hard for everybody to show up, and it would drive me crazy because I win. I don't lose because I know how to win, because I know that it takes. My win is in the effort that I put into that moment. I don't win in that moment. I win in my effort to there. When I'm alone and no one's looking, I don't stop at when I have 3 more. I do 5 extra.
Yeah, that's one of the best quotes ever, is the win is in the preparation.
I got to be honest, every time I done anything, it's always before I got on the field or before I went in the ring. My fight was won in training camp, and what I was willing to put myself through, and the truth I was willing to face with who I am and what I slept in the woods the night before I fought Osborne. I slept because I did everything, and I felt like I needed to get that little bit of advantage in my mind. So I said, I know he's not sleeping outside. That's how next level I had to be with myself. I would push myself to limits. So I knew that this kid didn't sleep outside. And that alone, when I walked out of the woods at 6 o'clock in the morning, I was Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers in one. There was no denying me, because I know he didn't sleep in the woods on a rock. I heard bugs, and I was creeped out all night long in the woods. It was scary.
Yeah.
But I stayed and I went through it. And I say, if I could just get through this night, he's dead. And Mike, that's what it was. I went there focused on, you just made me go through this, bro. You're going to pay for it. You're going to pay. Like, I slept on a rock, and it was personal then because I had to get my brain in that place. That's the things I'm willing to do, is the things that are really, really difficult. And none of it is physical. It's all mental. And when you do the hard work, you emotionally heal yourself. And you can emotionally control things that you couldn't control before because you do the work. And again, you go back to the Bruce Lee philosophy of his way of who he is. He understood his body so much that he could punch you from here because his energy was so powerful because he knew where it came from. That energy is crucial that we protect it and we give it to the right people at the right time.
Yeah, all these, the little small base hits are the most important thing. And the preparation to success is where all of the things that we accomplish are accomplished before they're even accomplished. So we're doing this routine every night where we sit and meditate for 15 minutes. So how long do we do it?
We're starting with 5. Our goal is to get to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
we sit, we visualize, we manifest, we think about where we want to be in the next year. We think about the goals that we want to accomplish. We think about the success that we want, the different projects that we want to be involved in. And we should start talking about it after we do it.
Yeah.
If you can see it and if you can visualize it, it's real.
Yeah.
And it's powerful.
It's working.
I would work on this left hook I've been working on in the corner. Vinny Paz, I stole it off of Vinny. Kudos to Vinny for that. So, but I used it really well, and I would always catch people with it. I was fighting for a 95 championship, and I was upstairs right before the fight, and in my head, I was seeing myself boxing him. And I was in the corner, and I bounced, and I hit him with a left hook, and his head went down. And there's 30 seconds left in the fight. It's a bloodbath, and it's an even fight. And all of a sudden, I'm in the corner, Mike, and I bounce, and I hit him, and his head went down. I got goosebumps right now, bro. All of a sudden, I was in my visualization, and everything happened the exact way I seen it with 30 seconds left in the fight, and it was anybody's fight. It was mental, and after that, I said, boxing's for me. I knew that I was going to be good because I knew I was smart, and I knew that I could create something in my brain and go out and do it the exact way I seen it. And that's when I realized the power of my mind and how I can get through things. That's why I always knew that. Every time I was counted out and every time somebody said I wasn't going to do something or I was going to end up this way or that way, I either got up off the canvas, I rise, I would run to the edge of the mountain and skid and not fall off.
Yeah.
You know, I never went overboard. So, and there's a lot of experience and wisdom that comes with that, but it took a lot of work, man. And it took a lot of vulnerability. That's the strength. You know, as men, Mike, if a 4-year-old girl runs and falls and hits her knee, you, me, we all run over to her and we get her and we pamper her and we say, oh, and we kiss the knee and we soft and we teach them how to be nurturers, right? The 4-year-old boy runs and falls and bangs his knee. We don't get off the couch. He's crying the same pain, the same level. And we say, get up, kid, big boys don't cry. And we're doing that, A, to get him to stop crying. B, to get him to be a man. Right? And C, we don't even realize we're starting the volcano. Because now the kid gets up and he goes, and he starts holding in his anger.
There's a lot of successful people, though, that come from stoicism like that. And I would think, is that a form of stoicism, do you think?
I don't think we're aware of it. Just like being Irish, Mike, right? If you're Irish, you're brought up around alcohol. On St. Patrick's Day, if you don't drink and wear green, you're not Irish.
Yeah.
Like, we're programmed to believe that this is a way, but is it really? It's all programmed. You could be, I'm Irish and I don't drink on St. Patrick's Day and I don't wear green and I'm still Irish, but because it's almost like, it's the programming. Like most people who are
Right.
Irish drink because they think that they're Irish, so they have to be drunk. It's you see what I'm saying?
So you're saying that we're programmed to be like, what is it to be a man? Like you fall, get back up, you got to be a man. Is that you saying that that's wrong programming?
I think that's where we fail as adults. That little boy still needs the same thing that little girl needed. And that's how we teach them to be real men, because they don't have to become a volcano because of our doings and the way we word things. Get up. Big boys don't cry. It's okay to go over to the little boy and pick him up and hug him and say, buddy, it's okay. Does it hurt? All right, come on, let's shake it off, you know? It's okay to do that, you know? It doesn't have to be different. It could be the same, but different. There's a lot of keys on the ring. If you are trying to open a lock and you keep using the same key and there's 100 keys on the ring and they all look alike, and you say to me, the door's not opening, Mike, did you try another key? Oh, well, I didn't think of that. Well, and then maybe in the 15th key, you got it. So there's always a way to that. It doesn't have to be what
society says. I get it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way, but we don't think like that. We don't, and we're not like, we have a way of like losing confidence in who we are. It's weird. Like I talk with a lot of people, and you gotta like suck that good energy in, man. You can't be giving that away. It's so important, because if we have a bad diet and we're constantly speaking negatively about ourselves or words of I'm not, or maybe, or if, no, because it's exactly that. If you think you can, you're probably right. If you think you can't, you're probably right. Yeah. So when you don't speak words of confirmed affirmation, you're going to remain that. I can, I will, watch me. If you don't think or you label me, I am too busy defying your label, because I can do anything.
When it happens. Right. Yeah, instead of if it happens.
Yes, when. If this goes well, no. What do you mean if? You already blew it right there. So police yourself. That's the policing I'm talking about. Those little things that we do. We just are programmed to just.
Yeah. So
we got to be very careful of how we speak about ourselves.
Yeah, you got to think before you talk.
Yes, it matters. It matters. And not everybody's got their motor on 24/7. And that's the problem. You can't do this for 5 hours or 24 hours. This is a marathon of life.
Every day.
And if you don't have the stamina to go all the way to the box with this same mindset, yes, it takes work. Yes, it gets tiring. Yes, and all the things that come along with it. But at the end of the day, what's the alternative?
The definition of an insanity is remaining the same, doing the same thing over and over. So
I love a challenge that defies things that regular people can and can't do, because it's all, I believe I can. And I'm willing to die for the truth. And I'm willing to go into any situation if it's for the right reasons.
What is that you brought?
This is
that over there.
The eucalyptus.
That's just a that is a eucalyptus. It's kind of like it's the Muay guys, where it's like a eucalyptus where
it opens up your brain receptors.
It's like smelling salts.
Not really.
Let me see.
Yeah.
What do you just smell it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Is it gonna?
No, it's watch how good it's like. It cleans you out.
I hang eucalyptus plants in our showers.
Yes,
this is good. That's what that is.
Eucalyptus. It really.
Is this a soothing thing for you?
It's what it is. It's if I'm training and I'm pushing myself, it really just gives me that open my lungs. It's like instant oxygen.
Yeah, it's an old ancient modality that regulates your nervous system. It's kind of like, peppermint. If you're feeling nauseous, if you smell peppermint, it regulates your brain.
So when we get in a state of racing our blood pressure, right, we lack oxygen. And then we hold our breath a lot because we want to get through something, and we think holding our breath. We're not thinking about holding our breath and breathing. We're thinking about getting through it. So we'll be like, for the last 4 of them, holding our breath. That is the problem. We need to know that when we're doing exercise and we're doing anything, we need oxygen to feed our brain and to feed our cells and to feed the muscle. Without oxygen, we get fatigue and we collapse. So the oxygen is important, and the eucalyptus really opens up the oxygen receptacles, and you really get some oxygen in you right away, and it's really healthy.
I want to make a quick plug really quick. So 2 things. Jarrod has been training my son. My son's 13 years old.
14 now.
He just turned 14. The change that he's made in the last 2 weeks have been astronomical. He came into the gym. He was lacking confidence. He was lacking self-esteem. He didn't even know if he wanted to be there. He had this pressure of having to do something at that time. He wasn't really sure what to do. So for me, I wanted to take myself out of the equation because I know that, you don't always want to listen to dad, but I did know that he needed to be with somebody that was smart, driven, could help him with life lessons as well as add a physical dynamic. It's been amazing having him at your gym. So I want to give a plug to your gym and to anybody out there who's listening that wants to join your program. And because it's not only a physical thing, you will get into physical shape. You will lose a lot of weight. You will feel better. You will look better. But what Jarrod can offer mentally is something that a lot of these other gyms are not offering, that they don't have. They don't have that best interest in yourself. You care about the people who walk in the door.
Bingo.
So it's a different dynamic than another gym.
Bingo.
That they're just, and I'm not saying any other gym is just looking for money, but they do have a more laid back environment to where they let you do your thing. It's not as one-on-one. It's not as like caring. So I hope everybody can contact Jarrod. I'll put in the description and in this post. Legendary Boxing, North Smithfield on Smith Street. Incredible gym. He's done so much work over there. Everything looks great. Top-notch equipment, top-notch everything over there. So give Jarrod a call, contact him, and
I appreciate that, Mike. And I think boxing is a metaphor for life. You're going to have good days in the gym. You're going to have good days in life. You're going to have bad days in the gym. You're going to have bad days in life. There's some days you're not going to want to get out of bed. There's some days you're not going to want to get off the canvas. Boxing is a metaphor for life. It really is. There's suffering in boxing. There's processes, there's pain, there's exercises, there's things you got to go through, there's suffering in life. It complements each other. So I use the power of boxing to teach people how to heal themselves from the inside. And when you can do that, that's when the best you shows up. And that best you takes the wheel after and says, I can drive, move over. And I'm excited to get in the passenger seat because this is the plan all along, to get him in the driver's seat. Now when he starts believing himself from the inside out, because that's what we're designed to believe in, light and positive. And so he starts seeing changes in his body and it motivates him. So all I do is just keep lighting that flame. I just keep lighting the flame. It's like standing behind him and I'm like, and he's just going and he's getting more on fire. And the more on fire he's getting, the more I'm creating the inferno. Look at you, you're blowing up and I make him believe in who he is. And then he gets to a point where he knows who he is and everything changes.
Yeah, so incredible work. Also, Sheena and I are going to start working on, we're not going to roll this out yet, but we are going to be offering some online coaching in some aspect. We're still trying to dial in a few things with ourselves, physically, mentally, business, nutritionally, every aspect of life we're trying to master. And when we do, because we want to start sharing that with you guys. We want to start sharing my story, her story, our whole team story, Jarrod's story, and where we've been to where we are now, because it has not been an easy journey. I think all the shit that's happened in all of our lives, it's happened for a reason. And I think one of those reasons is to share and help with people who are in that position right now that we can assist.
And here's a very important thing to bounce off of what Mikey just said is your level of stuff, my level of stuff, your level of stuff, and anybody listening's level of suffering that you have in your life. There's always someone out there that has it worse than you, and they still prosper, and they still rise, and they still defy the odds. And you're no different than them.
Yeah.
There's people that come from worse than you that still defy the odds. So don't be a victim to the life that slapped you around. It's okay because life slaps everybody around, but people have spirits and they rise, and that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a victim. Don't be a victim. Don't blame your life on your moment that you have right now. You'll continue to sabotage it. Just ownership, and you can never bring yesterday back, but you can always start now and make a new ending.
When I was going through times and I would listen to some people on Instagram, on YouTube, I would hear these messages that helped me. There has been messages things that you said, things that I've heard that I was like, man, this is waking me up.
That's important.
So what we want to do is offer that the stuff that we heard, we want to give back.
That's so important because you just said something that not a lot of people do it. Not a lot of people listen to learn and retain. And I think that's crucial because I find myself saying the same thing over to the same people and them not hearing me. They're listening, but they don't hear me, right? So by listening to hear me is completely different than listening to respond.
Yep.
And I think that's a very important thing. Like, listen to the words and then
you
don't
have to be
respond. Don't talk.
Yep.
Put it in action.
Yep.
Take action.
One more thing, Horizon HVAC guys, do not forget about the 8% referral program. Reach out to Sheena or myself, and we will actually mail you guys these pamphlets. Put your name on the back, rip it off. You're giving your people a $200 discount, and you're making 8% at the same time. So don't forget about that, Horizon HVAC.
My man, he's the best. And one thing I'm really excited about tomorrow, it's a big day for me.
Tomorrow? Did I forget something?
What's going on tomorrow?
I get better looking every day.
That's good. That's every day. That's every day.
I had to sneak that in.
Good shit, man.
Yo, that was good, Mike.
We'll be there. We'll be there tomorrow.
Let's
right?
go. Yes,
tomorrow,
sir.
10 a.m. with Mikey.
Yes, sir.
12.
Awesome podcast, man. Love you to death.
Yeah,
Sheena,
that was
thank you.
powerful. That was
Thank you.
powerful. It was different. It
Yep.
was completely different.
Yeah.